Superwomen, Bernice King, exclusive interview. Become inspired.
Attorney Brian Poe with the Atlanta Business and Entertainment Exchange and Poe Central Law. Speaking on behalf of the advisory board of the Atlanta Tribune, the magazine, and very, very proud to be here tonight with one of the 2014 Superwomen, Dr. Bernice King. Congratulations.
Well, thank you. I appreciate it.
How does it feel to be honored tonight?
Well, it's my hometown, so it's obviously a great honor. You know, from a biblical tradition, you think about the scripture that says how a prophet is not generally honored in their own hometown. So I count this an extreme honor to be recognized this way.
The magazine recognized you for your entire walk in your professional career, as well as things that you have accomplished in the community. But one focus of the article was your work as CEO of the King Center. Could you tell me what you hope your legacy to be in that role?
Well, I hope that my legacy through the King Center would be that I help to develop a cadre of a new generation of nonviolent warriors. Because I think that in order for our world to ultimately get to what my father called the beloved community, we've got to keep reproducing those people who embrace nonviolence as a lifestyle. And so my mission is to target, identify, bring together, and help to develop those individuals, you know, who will help to change our world through my father's nonviolent leadership philosophy.
You just mentioned your father, and you very often mention your mother, as you did tonight in your gracious acceptance speech. What is it about your parents that makes you gravitate towards always embracing what they've done? There are some people who would have iconic parents that would feel that mentioning their parents would diminish their own identity. You seem to embrace it. You seem to think it's very important that people know that you are the daughter of Martin Luther King Jr. and Coretta Scott King. Why is that important?
Well, let me just say this. I haven't always embraced it. I ran from it for a long time. In fact, one of the reasons it took me 8 years to answer my call in ministry is I didn't want my identity to be swallowed up by my father's. Because I said, people are going to just remember me as the daughter of Dr. King and nothing else. What's going to happen to me and my own identity? And that's why I went to law school, essentially. So I can say this is something I did and this is my thing and it's distinguishable. But as I continued to mature and allowed myself some time to really think about who my parents were and what they represent to the world and realize that I am who I am, I'm where I am because of the sacrifice that they made, I then realized that it's a privilege and an honor to be their daughter. And when my mother passed, it kind of punctuated it for me because it hit me, oh my God, she's not here to fill that space. And if I don't step up to the plate and if I don't make sure that people understand the great sacrifice that they made for all of us, but not just the sacrifice, but that whole nonviolent legacy that he left and she continued to push forward in our society, then, you know, shame on me. So, you know, I kind of accepted it as a calling and an assignment. And I remember, I want to share this story. I went somewhere one day and had a meeting with someone, and my mother actually arranged for the meeting. And when I came out of the meeting, I know this sounds crazy, but I said to her, I just called to thank you for the privilege of being your daughter, because she opened the door for me. And I didn't want to take that for granted. And it's my hope that I can show that to the generation behind me, that there are people who have opened up doors for you. And you didn't get to this place just because of your intellectual knowledge, your own gifts and talents. Yes, that does help you, but from a collective global standpoint, somebody still had to pave the way and make the road a little less bumpy so that you could smoothly go the route that you're going. And so I see that as part of my responsibility. And, you know, I love my parents. I appreciate my parents. And You know, the other factor is that, you know, I really started thinking about my entire, basically, childhood, teenage life, and young adulthood. I had to share my parents with the world. And I went through some stages of resentment about that. And the reason I can fully embrace them now is because, you know, in a strange kind of way, I had to give them up during those younger stages of my life. But now I'm kind of embracing them and bringing them back into myself, you know, as a way to make up for what I lost as a child. So it's kind of those lost years expressing itself in my adult years now.
Well, there's so many people that are proud of what you've accomplished, and now we're seeing you on the national stage because of a lawsuit that a lot of people are following. This is a positive night, and you've had to do a lot of interviews on that, so I won't get into the details of that. But I will say that whenever you speak on this, I think it makes parents proud, and people, your parents proud, but our parents very proud of how you are representing yourself in the King Center. And you also seem to have a really talented team of attorneys. I noticed there's one attorney that's almost always with you. Could you tell us a little bit about your legal team?
Well, Schiff Harden is the firm that represents me personally, not the King Center. There's a whole nother set of attorneys that represents the King Center.
I'm interested in your personal representatives because I see them at the press conference.
Okay, yeah. Schiff Harden, specifically Attorney Eric Barnum, and I actually met him through Chief Justice, former Chief Justice Leah Sears Collins. She sent me a letter when someone had filed a lawsuit against the King Center and offered their services and whatever they could, you know, do to help us at that particular time. And I started forming a relationship with Eric, who works with the firm that she's with, Schiff Harden, because she felt that he would be the best person to represent the King Center at the time. And so when this came up, you know, I talked to him about it, and that's how we ended up with their representation.
Well, you're doing most of the speaking, and you do an outstanding job. I've heard him speak, and it seems that people are on your side, and I wish you the best with that.
But you know what I want to clarify?
Okay.
I'm honored by that. Let me say that. But the most important thing, because this is a slippery slope for people, is that they're on the side of what's truth and what's right. Because I never want people to feel like I'm having to choose between two family members, because that's what helps me. The reason I was able to come out and make the statements that I made is because I'm not taking a position against my brothers in a negative way as people, you know, I'm against that person. I'm against the position. And I always try to make decisions by what my heart and my spirit tells me is the right thing to do. So I want to be on the right side. Does it mean sometimes that if I'm convicted and go that way, that in the end something might be wrong? It happens to all of us. But the most important thing is I'm on the side that I'm convicted is the right side, and believe that God is with me in that. And so sometimes it appears, because this has been an interesting scenario as people have made comparisons, you know, she's on this side this time, she's on this side. I'm only on the side of what I believe is right. I never took sides with one brother or another brother. I took sides with what was right. And if somebody happens to be on that right side, it just appears that that's where I am. So I'm sharing that with people because all of us find ourselves in situations where, well, I don't want to feel like I'm turning against this person or I'm against this person. And that's part of that nonviolent philosophy. You seek to defeat an injustice, not a person. And this really is not about people. This is about righting wrong.
And you've always taken the moment to say you still really love your brothers, and I think people appreciate hearing that.
Yes, I sincerely do. Obviously, from the very bottom of my heart, they're part of me, you know, and I'd love to be able to escape them. So.
And thank you for taking the time to speak to us about that. Congratulations again. This is Attorney Brian Poe with Bernice King, 2014 Atlanta Tribune Superwoman.